Anyway, we'll get that footage. All right, everybody, let's.
You guys ready?
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
He's ready. All right, let's go. This is true love we're making.
This is tuna and bacon.
This is tuna
That
and
does
bacon.
sound like a legit
This
sandwich.
is tuna and bacon. Hey everyone, it is May 25th, 2025. You are listening to the Super Gamecast, your source for video game and video game industry news. My name is Aaron Reynolds. I am joined by Bronson Fiore. How you doing, Bronson?
I would totally eat a tuna and bacon sandwich.
Would you?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Does it?
Hey, dude, you do like a tuna melt, but with some bacon on it? Yeah, let's go.
Duncan Crabtree, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, can't eat tuna. So
Can't eat tuna. Cannot.
yeah, I throw that up. I throw up everything.
You can't throw up everything. You got to live, man. We need you for this show.
So, chicken nuggets only.
There you
Feed
go.
me like a toddler.
All right.
What's your thoughts on Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Where are your
They
thoughts
do
on
have
Taco
chicken
Bell?
nuggets at Taco Bell.
I think Taco Bell's
They're
fine.
very protein rich.
Oh. Can you eat Taco Bell?
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, not for the most part. I mean, they have chicken nuggets there now, so I can eat those. But when they stop having them,
Is Taco Bell like nothing but like meat and cheese?
yeah, but most meats I can't do. Most formats of meat I can't do.
Interesting. Tangentially related, a long time ago, while I was working at a convenience store, I very jokingly purchased a bag of Doritos and Mountain Dew and consisted of a gamer diet for one day of work. And I broke out into hives. I can't go full gamer. It's not in me, unfortunately.
I see. You can't have a can of Doritos and a bag of cherry Coke.
No.
I when I worked at AT&T, they had like a small like cafe in the break room, and I proceeded to, and they had Mountain Dew, and it was ridiculously cheap Mountain Dew, right? Because they wanted to keep you caffeinated and working.
Yeah.
And I was working like 12-hour days because they offered unlimited overtime, and I was in my early 20s and broke, and I wanted money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was working 12-hour days and drinking like 4 to 5 Mountain Dews a day.
Shit. Yeah. All right.
Gaming.
That's
That's gaming right there.
Big gaming.
What's your caffeine intake now? 30s
like,
gaming. I want to hear it.
Espresso.
Okay. All right.
I'll drink like espresso or a mocha. Like I have a bunch of iced mocha in the fridge.
All right.
And then trying to think of what else. And then like Coke Zero.
Coke Zero's yep.
I've been I'm still in my 20s gaming.
Yes.
So I'm trying to preemptively quit all the soda, but it's just too hard. I still drink about a soda a day.
I get you. Understand.
So I'm gonna be real, Duncan. Just make the move to Coke Zero. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
You'll be okay. It's not full Coke, but it's close enough. And in the same way, Beyond Meat is close enough to me. It's not meat. You're not gonna get the full flavor, but it's close enough if you needed to.
Yeah, like
my main boon has honestly just been I bought a ton of water bottles, and I have water bottles like really close all the time.
Okay.
So when I would normally go to drink a soda, I have to get past the water bottles first to get to the soda. And I'll go, okay, I should have a water bottle instead.
See, now that's great. That's a fantastic move. Good on you.
Yeah, see, this has been helpful for me. My girlfriend 2-3 Christmases ago got me this hydro flask. And provided that it's full, I am lazy enough to where, like, if it's here versus having to go up to get a soda, I will just drink water.
Yeah.
I have learned that I need to introduce, like, I will always, when it comes to my home life, take the option that is less work.
Yep.
Right.
So like
lack
in the
of barriers.
case, yes, exactly. So it's like in the case of, so if I let like snacks by my desk, that's like the worst thing I could do to myself.
'Cause you
Right.
will eat them. Yeah, they're gonna
Like
be right
just
there.
dooming myself to failure. So like by my desk, perfect example. I left 2 brownies by my desk yesterday. Ate them like throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you know, same thing with like water and soda, right? Like if it's like, oh, I want a Coke Zero, which it's 0 calories. It's still bad for you though. Yeah, but I have to get up and go to the kitchen and go to the mini fridge and reach down versus I can just drink this water that's here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, you've
Um,
introduced something terrible to me in that, like, I found that my changes in behavior that were positive were usually led by the fact that I'm lazy. And if I can make a healthy option lazy and easier to do than the unhealthy option, I will just do that.
That's the move.
So I have figured out a way for me to do that with delivery food, right?
Okay.
I just I log out of the app and delete the app.
Yep.
So anytime that I want to order delivery, I have to re-log in and re-download the app and like get the QR, the code emailed to me. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make a sandwich.
They've made logging in such a pain in the ass that this is a legitimate strategy.
Also a
Yeah,
good move.
like I am using 2-factor as much as humanly possible to be lazy. Like to get into my Grubhub account, which I get free. Like I've canceled the Dash Premium, but like to log into my Grubhub account, I have to use 2-factor and like all this other shit. So it's like, yeah, dude, it's you gotta just make the healthier, better option the lazy option.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you will lazy max the super hard.
So now what I want to do is see, now I'm getting into like the deep lazy. So what I have is I have this pitcher of flavored water, and
Right.
I like having that. It's this giant pitcher of flavored water. It's nice, but I keep getting these energy drinks and things like that. They're single cans. So what I need to do is I need to purchase a bunch of individual like bottles. And then when I make a pitcher of something, pour them into each of them and keep them like that, so I can just grab one.
So okay,
yeah.
so I got a real good option. I have a real good option for you because I've done this back when we had a mini fridge in the office.
I'm all ears.
All right, so you put a mini fridge in your space where you spend the most time. So probably your gaming room, your office, your bedroom, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you fill it with nothing but the healthy options. So your low sodium beef jerky, your bottled water, your 0-calorie energy drinks, that kind of shit.
Yep.
And like it's just all your healthy options. And then all your bullshit options are like in a fridge on the opposite side of the house.
Yeah. Let me tell you, yesterday, I went to Goodwill and they had a mini fridge in there for $50, and I thought about it.
Pretty good. I have a mini fridge in my room that I don't have hooked up.
Oh man,
it's in the void over there.
All right,
you should do that.
You should do that.
So
yeah,
we had to move ours into the kitchen because of like just space concerns, like the mini fridge.
You moved a mini fridge into the same room as your fridge? How does your fridge feel about this?
Yeah. It feels like, oh man, we can't fit all this food in our regular fridge. So
thank you for sharing the load. Got it.
Yeah, thank you. Because we cannot fit like 12 bottles of Coke Zero and then this juice drink my girlfriend has and all this other shit into just the fridge. Quite frankly, I've actually thought about getting a mini freezer as well, because our freezer, every time we go grocery shopping, our freezer is just packed.
Interesting.
It is like wall-to-wall packed.
If you're talking energy efficiency, a chest freezer is so absurdly energy efficient. It's like a really good freezer.
Okay.
I learned in Hitman you can put a body in there. Be good. In
regards to my mini fridge, I have it unhooked up for noise reasons, because over the years the fan somehow got something and it does a little metal ting noise as it spins. And my bedroom is one room over, And so I could hear all throughout the night that ding, 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 ding. Like,
yeah.
I just can't stand it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. All right. Well, all right. I've got this Etsy tab open. That's for later after the show. I'm gonna min-max. I'm gonna get a mini fridge, stick all that in there, put my coffee maker on top, and then I just have to get water for the coffee.
Yeah. See, that's the one I'm still trying to figure out a good way, because the best thing that I could drink is just espresso, no cream, no sugar, no anything.
Yeah.
But that requires me like making espresso, like cleaning the machine after, etc. So I'm like trying to figure out a way to lazy max making espresso. And like I'm just trying to find a way.
Yeah.
You know, like I got, you know, it's like, okay, maybe I can put it in the night before and just press a button and then just rinse it out immediately, maybe.
Right.
Like I'm just like
right in that moment.
Like I am just trying to find a way. Basically, it's just, all right. What are my options?
I wish the best to all of us, both here in this chat and everyone watching and listening. Do what you can. Exploit your weaknesses to make yourself healthier. That's.
I'm so
less
jealous.
Healthy, everybody. I'm gonna take the villain position here. We should all have worse food and drink.
Thank you.
I'm so jealous of Anthony and being able to just function normally in this regard.
Oh, that sounds nice, man.
But like we will be like having a conversation or gaming, and he will be like, "Hold on, I gotta get up to wash my dishes and like put them away."
Oh, that sounds great.
And I'm like, "What? What serial killer shit is this?" This was an option. You just don't let it sit in your room for a day and a half?
That's the problem. We're the serial killers now.
Yeah, it's probably.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to our podcast. 3 serial killers talk about video games.
Right.
Hold on, I need to take that down for the title.
You should get that for the title. I really am strange in this regard. I just gotta say my last bit is that I've lost probably 10 pounds in like the past month and a half or two.
Nice.
And I did that. Get this. I eat 6 fewer chicken nuggets a day.
That would make sense. You're probably in calories.
That's it.
The chicken nuggets,
that's the only change I made.
They're very nutrient dense. No, we're like minor diet changes like that can change a lot. You know, like legitimately just switching to having Greek yogurt and some granola for breakfast instead of like a full breakfast has like just made me feel instantly lighter and better.
That sounds
fucking wild. It's a small change, but it's, you know. No, what my doctor is also like looking at my weight gain and weight loss, and she's just like, I think you have thyroid problems.
Oh.
So I'm getting that tested soon.
Great. All right. Damn.
So yeah.
Welcome to the Old Man Gaming Podcast.
Every time we have one of these stories, I'm just reminded of fucking The Simpsons. She's like, I used to be with it once, and now what I was isn't it anymore. It'll happen to you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That would scares me.
Yeah, but I need to postpone the start of the actual podcast just a little longer. I just want to be like, you know, there are people who get stuck in the nostalgia bit, and they like get stuck in this window of video games that was kind of like a key thing for them. But man, there's a couple news stories in here, just like, man, the era of video games we came up in was pretty fucking cool. I don't know, man. The 2000s era of gaming was pretty fucking sick. I'm just saying.
It was.
Hey, you say you gotta remember, I'm like 8 years younger than you guys.
I know. Yeah, the beard tricks me every time.
Right? I'm one era of video games behind you.
Yeah.
Saying that, you caught the tail end of that. You caught
okay, for the older people, that the greatest era of video games is happening like 2000s, but extended into like 2013.
Well, because me and Bronson had this discussion the other day where I was like, "Oh, the Halo game I was really good at was Halo Reach."
Fuck yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh yeah, that was too late for me. I was really good at Halo 3." And I'm like, "Yeah, we're one era of games separated from each other.
Yeah.
The game prior he was great at, and I was the one after."
So Aaron, I actually like stand by my statement. The golden era for video games, in my mind, is 1991 to 2012. That is the peak of video games.
Sure. There's a lot of things to talk about with the current realm of video games that I think are cooler than ever. There's other bullshit that does not help this current era. But yeah, if you wanted to like try to narrow the window, there's a bunch of different places you could go. I was working on something for a video that I don't think is going to come out in its current form. But I was looking at the releases happening in like 2001. I was like, Jesus Christ, what is going on in this era? Holy hell, this is awesome.
If you want to pick a singular generation, then I think it's either PS2 and Xbox GameCube era or 360 PS3 Wii. That is like, I think you can make an argument for SNES era.
Yeah.
It's just that it's like kind of primitive. I do not think it's Gen 5, the PS1 and 64. That's like such a weak era in my
PS1 was
mind.
carrying that fucking weight.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where like I look back and I'm like, yeah, like the original Xbox era or the 360 era like are kind of peak video gaming.
I mean, for Bronson, you and I think it's original Xbox PS2. It was a magical time for games.
Yes.
I'm gonna make the argument. Noita, Yomi Hustle, and Balatro didn't used to exist, and they do now.
That's the thing. There are some fantastic, incredible games that are coming out right now.
I think the issue I have with games today is I think innovation still exists in a big way.
Yeah.
I think it's still around. Just not to the same extent or way where it felt like from like 1991 to like 2012, some crazy new fucking concept or idea was happening like every 4 months.
I think that it's actually that crazy new concepts and ideas are happening now every 2 weeks, and we can't conceivably keep up with them, and so they're not a big deal anymore.
Well, that's the thing. There's more games being released, and they're not. And these developments aren't happening in the AAA space hardly at all.
They aren't.
And I think that's
simultaneously AAA has gotten more the same, whereas like the indie space has gotten like really revolutionary. AAA has gotten more samey, and so when a new thing that's like crazy and different comes out now, it's like, yeah, but I got like 15 other new crazy different things that I haven't even played yet.
I also think that part of it is also just, I think it's important for the AAA space to be doing that stuff.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
they're just outside of like Nintendo, they're not. So it's like,
and then you get Expedition 33 coming out here and being in that like middle ground area.
Yeah, that's like a AA, but like generally, it's you're not getting as much fresh, cool shit from AAA.
Right.
I've been playing Doom: The Dark Ages recently, and I'm just like, this is fine.
Right. And it doesn't help that it costs a fuck ton. And like one of the news stories that happened this week, but it's not part of our docket. Kojima has a game that is not coming out for another 5 to 6 years. Like these people are spending a good chunk of their lives now making these big ass games.
Well, this is something that like Pat keeps bringing up on Castle Super Beast, where like people will, if the current Doom isn't good, that's a bigger bummer than ever, because you could be waiting a decade for the next one, right?
But that's the official next Doom. That's the thing now.
Well, yes, but then also, depending on the indie developer, and this is very game to game. sometimes the polish isn't there,
Right.
or the spectacle or scale isn't there, and that's what you're trading. I think there are exceptions, like Sea of Stars was balls to walls amazing. I keep describing Expedition 33 as this is what Final Fantasy should have become after 10.
Right.
Instead of abject bullshit for like a decade. You know, so I think that it's just a real bummer to lose the AAA space, and I understand that indies are taking up that mantle, but they're also not like representative to the normies.
No,
the way AAA used to be.
People aren't gonna willingly accept that. They're like, oh, I mean, Doom's not a good example because those games are good, but like, you know, if you're not a huge fan of the new Doom games, you can play Ultra Kill. Ultra Kill is incredible.
Dusk.
Dusk. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of games that feel like they're not around anymore that have incredible indie equivalents. But like, you know, it's not a true replacement. It doesn't matter how great Ultra Kill is. It's actually not a true replacement for, you know, like Quake.
I do think that like they've been trying to advance video game technology, and they've been hitting more and more of a ceiling, to the point where like I was clicking through news stories. I'm like, here's the difference between the original release of this and the new release of this, and I'm not seeing a fucking difference, man. Like people are putting a lot of work into it, and I just think, man, someone's got to like do the experiment of like, what's the minimum amount of team we can put together to make a AAA-esque experience that isn't pushing the boundaries and allows us to get games out in like 2 years.
Imagine if you... Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Good.
I was going to say, imagine if you were like a huge fan of Final Fantasy X, right? And then... as you probably were, I'm probably speaking to guys who are a fan of Final Fantasy X.
I was a huge fan of Final Fantasy X.
I enjoyed Blitzball.
So you're a huge fan of Final Fantasy X, and then 11 is an MMO and you're not into it. And then 12 comes out and I never hear anything about it. So I guess it wasn't as great as people would have wanted. It was okay. Then 13 is like massively maligned. And then 14 comes out and it's an MMO. And then 15 comes out and people say it's good, but it's not anything. It's like not anything like Final Fantasy X. And then 16 comes out and it's also good, but it's also not anything like Final Fantasy X. And so you have been going for, and let's look up this date. FF10 released
came out in December of 2001.
Yeah, December of 2001. It has been 14 years since you've gotten your fix of like a traditional Final Fantasy game that you could play.
24 years.
Oh God,
fuck.
yeah, 24.
Oh no.
It's been 24
that 10 years just hit me.
Since you've gotten your Final Fantasy experience that you were in it for. And that's like absurd. That's like people are waiting so long for the game they want. That if Final Fantasy 17 comes out and they do all the marketing, they're like, it's back to tradition. We're gonna be inspired by 10 and 9 and 7 and 8, and we're gonna do that again. We're gonna make a Final Fantasy game, and it comes out and it's ass. That'd be so devastating.
Well, and Pat brought this up as well. Like during Final Fantasy's heyday of 6 to 10. You were getting a new Final Fantasy. He did the math on it. If you include tactics in there, every 15 months,
you
got a Final Fantasy game. Months. And then like Yakuza is kind of doing that. I want to say Yakuza, outside of the break they took after Like a Dragon,
it's every year and a half.
It's every year and a half. Like
11 months now. It might be actually like slightly under a year.
I mean, we can check that. So it was 13 months from Infinite Wealth to Pirate Yakuza. It was about fucking 4 months between The Man Who Erased His Name and Infinite Wealth.
Right.
Then it was actually a pretty good wait between. It was about a year and 3 months between Lost Judgment, and what's it called? Man Who Erased His Name.
Yeah.
And then they put out Ishin in there, which was a remaster, so I'm not gonna count that for dev time. And then it was like a year. It was like 2 years. Oh wait, no, the first Judgment came out, I want to say, in between there. But yeah, you never wait more than 2 years for a Yakuza game at this point.
Yeah, you don't.
Well, and it's because you reuse assets in smart ways and do smart shit. And for me, that's a bit much nowadays. Like, if you're a fan of the series, like a huge fan of the series, especially, it's fucking awesome. And it doesn't feel innovative like Final Fantasy did back in the day, when like every new Final Fantasy was 15 months apart, and it felt like the biggest advancement in the history of video games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the problem. I think that they want to be the biggest advancement in the history of video games still, when that's just not reasonable. And so it's 7 million years in between the Final Fantasy release, and then the new game that comes out is still slightly behind, albeit super technically impressive, and then like needs to be completely different to accommodate being something that is like on the cutting edge of the technology. Because otherwise, like Final Fantasy X, it's such a simple form of gameplay that's not going to be pushing any crazy boundaries when it comes to like technology.
I think that Final Fantasy X, like at the time, was the most visually impressive video game ever made. And it was like the first JRPG with, fully voiced audio and had all these other cool technical things. Now they're like, Final Fantasy 16 is probably one of the most technically impressive games I've ever played.
Mm.
It is wildly impressive. It also feels like one of the most expensive video games I've ever played.
Right.
Like that, you play that opening scene where Phoenix and Ifrit are fighting, and that shit feels like fucking like you can feel the money. You can feel the money just coming from it. There's a fight in that game with Bahamut. It's Phoenix and Ifrit versus Bahamut. It's playable. It is one of the most impressive boss fights I have ever seen. It is probably, if I were to take a guess, the most expensive.
The line, "He would burn the world."
I want to say that's correct.
I saw that. That shit was dope. Where he uses Zeta Flare.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. Zeta. Yeah, his world destroying attack. And it's one of the most impressive fights in the entire fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
I love Final Fantasy 16. I constantly keep saying that game is the best Final Fantasy, including 14, which I've also really enjoyed the story and whatnot, since 10. Like, and it's not fucking close.
All right.
It is by far the best one since 10. And it is also probably the most wildly expensive. Like, if you go watch that fucking Bahamut fight from start to finish, it is a 30-minute boss fight. And it is fucking easy. It is the most visually impressive thing you will probably see in a video game.
Yeah.
It is wild. It honestly made me feel like I did playing Final Fantasy X back in the day, where it blew when like Sin came to Zanarkand and blew up the city. Except this is, partially in engine, and in parts of it is playable. And it's fucking crazy.
Nice.
I should play that
but
game.
Also, you have to think that took. Sorry, what?
I said I should play that game.
Yeah.
You should. I'll say this. It plays like DMC5. It plays like a poor man's DMC5.
Okay.
I love my DMC5.
like, and the reason I say poor man is because you don't get your full kit till about 20 hours in.
Of course. All right.
But once you have your full kit, it is so fucking awesome.
Okay. All right.
It's so good. You can straight up do DMC5 type shit.
Man.
Yeah.
And then like the boss fights. Even if you hate every other part of that game, the boss fights alone are worth saying.
Okay.
They're
Right.
fucking incredible. They're fucking incredible.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, it's the most fucking but like this game probably cost $1 bajillion.
Right.
It probably
Yeah.
cost every bit of money in the fucking known universe.
Mm-hmm. And how much time went in.
Right, like you have to think that like they started making that, you know, a little bit after 15. So that thing took 8 years to make.
You know, you also said it's the best since Final Fantasy X, including 14, but you can't pay a cat girl to roleplay stepping on your balls in Final Fantasy 16. So,
do we know that for sure?
Checkmate.
I don't know.
I mean, you're right. You are right. But, you know, I'm not about the game itself, not the community around it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Maybe that's intended for FF14. It feels intended, right? That's like that's part of
It's not
development.
encouraged, but you can do it.
You can do a lot of that things in that game the developer definitely does not encourage.
No.
Like that story a long while back where the ERP community for FF14 put up a billboard in LA.
Mm-hmm.
It put up a billboard advertising.
Hell yeah.
All
right.
Well, news stories.
Yeah, we should get into those.
We should probably get into the news. I
those.
hope everyone enjoyed a little half-hour game chats. I think you'll see a little more of that going forward because I think we just missed doing that, just talking about video games generally.
I do. I have wanted
like
to talk because I have played so many games the past 2 months. I have so much shit to talk about, but we have not a place to put them.
Well, we're gonna have an opportunity soon here. So I hope everyone enjoys.
So let me hit you with a headline. As
hit me with the headline. Smash it over my head.
Borderlands 4 potentially costing $80. Gearbox chief Randy Pitchford says, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. If you're a real one, it won't matter.
So this is something that Anthony and I always bring up. No matter how poor, a gamer will figure out how to get the shit they really want. The way he puts it is, you know, a NEET will always find a way to get his waifu figure.
Right.
And so he is right, and I do think he is right in that sense. Like, big enough fans will go out of their way for this. You don't say this. You do not. Like, what are you doing?
His specific quote is he was asked not to make it $80. They just asked him. And they said, "You're the CEO. You have some say with the publisher when it comes to your prices." They just directly confronted him and said, "Please don't. You can do something about this," is what they basically said to him. And his quote response was A, "Not my call." So he just said,
"Oh, okay."
Nuh-uh. And then B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working with minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach. And I found a way to make it happen.
Again,
yes.
Weird pricing has happened for various video games, and people will get outraged, and then enough people will probably buy it anyway, unless the game sucks. You do not pull a PS3 2006 move and say it out loud.
So, video games are cheaper than ever, as I've been researching recently. And the thing is like, you know, Chrono Trigger was $70 when it came out. In 1994, that is $142 today.
Yep.
So, you know, in today's money, and as I've said before, Yes, especially due to the past 5 years. So I looked into wages versus inflation from 2000 or from 1985 to present. It's kind of gone back and forth. And actually, from like 2010 to like 2020, wages were actually beating inflation.
Okay.
And then COVID happened. And it literally creates a almost 90-degree line of inflation.
Yeah, it goes straight up.
It's like
up.
legitimately like
we had 20% inflation for one of those years. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, like they were going back and forth, and for a while their wages were ahead, and then like because of COVID, it fucking essentially erased all those winnings and gains and then some. And wages went up too, but then they declined a bit while and then inflation has just kind of stayed flat. So it's kind of like games are cheaper than ever, but in the past 4 or 5 years, wages kind of got their ass kicked. So any additional
beyond that, cost of living also went up. Has gone up significantly. So it's like wage stagnation and wage stagnation by comparison to inflation and cost of living increases means that the actual like free capital that the average person has it's just lower.
Yes. Now, that said, though, games are, in fact, like even an $80 game is so much fucking cheaper than it was in the 90s, the 2000s, and even the 2010s.
Right.
It gets so much cheaper. And games are also fucking longer than ever now, in fact. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think all this fucking screeching about $80, it just feels like it's bad timing, right?
Yeah.
Like I think if they did this,
bad.
Yeah, it's like optically shitty. But I also think at the end of the day, it's not it'll depend on the game. But I think for a lot of games, it's not going to matter. And I think perpetually online people like us will fucking complain and talk about it. But I think that like when the average person who sees Borderlands 4 comes out and is into Borderlands, they're just gonna go buy it. Like,
I think this is especially inflammatory amongst video game players right now because of how bad a lot of games have been. Like a big part of it is that AAA is really back and forth on whether or not a new game is gonna be worth buying at all. So people have been upset about the $60 because there's a lot of companies out there that even at 60 people have been upset because there are a lot of companies out there that release a game. They're like, you're telling me this is a full value release and it barely works. I paid $60 for this thing and it sucks it's people have been getting annoyed about that historically for the past couple of years. And now the games are going up because they kind of need to go up like that. I don't think there's much of a question about the fact that, inflation has been crazy. You can't just keep the game at the same price and expect to be making enough money when the cost of everything has gone up. So obviously they have to rise at some point, but it's difficult. It's a difficult pill to swallow when Borderlands 3 was like, a lot of people didn't like it, right? Yeah. I know a lot of people that just didn't like Borderlands 3, and that was like a full price release. And so people were like, I'm paying all this money for Borderlands 3 and it comes out and it sucks. And then they find out Borderlands 4 is going to be $80. And you're like, how am I supposed to be confident I'm going to like that game enough to pay $80 for it when I didn't like Borderlands 3 enough to justify the $60 I spent on it?
So here's the thing, though. Borderlands 3 sold 18 million copies. So it outsold Borderlands 2 by 50%. So I'm like sitting here and I'm like, okay, how much is this discourse about these negative experiences with these games? Weirdos like us on the internet and terminally online people who never leave Reddit or Blue Sky or whatever.
It's absolutely
and how much of this is
people on the internet.
And how much of this is like people who are actually like the normal consumer going out and buying and enjoying or not enjoying these games.
I think
Like
the normal consumer doesn't actually think about the price super hard. I think they kind of go, oh, and then they buy it.
Like I think about, and I think that like even amongst the hardcore crowd, I like think back to like this, we had all that Switch drama last month, right? We're like $80
Right.
games, $450 console. My God.
Mm-hmm.
And like that obviously did not fucking matter. I mean, at all.
Randy Pitchford is just right. Like his quote is correct. As upsetting as it might be,
he looks like an asshole.
Yeah, you don't say that. That's the thing. You don't say that out loud to the people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy Borderlands 4 because I'm a fan of the series. I'll make it happen. I'm not gonna be happy about it, but he's right.
Yeah.
And I have only enjoyed one mainline Borderlands games, and I enjoyed the 2 Tales from the Borderlands games.
In fact, so let me take this in the inflammatory direction. I don't believe in consumer spending choices as a mode of influence on the industry. I don't think that I personally can make an outsized effect on the decisions of companies with my consumer spending choices. And I think that as a part of a niche population of people who are excessively engaged with games, that my decisions are always going to be outside the normal consumer decisions of the market, which means it doesn't matter if I sit there and I go obstinately, I'm not going to buy the Assassin's Creed game because I'm so mad. I'm not going to mean anything, and even if everybody else in my sphere that is pissed off about the thing also decides that they're not going to do it, it still won't mean anything because we aren't actually the main addressed market. And so, like, sitting here and going and being outraged, like, I'm not going to buy the $80 Borderlands game. I don't think there's a point. I think I could just buy it and it'll be fine, and nothing's going to happen in either way.
So go ahead, Bronson.
I think that you are right to an extent with that. I think if people with big enough audiences and get their audience to align with them, like that is when that changes. So like, for example, if I don't know, like Kind of Funny or Asmongold come out and they're like, yeah, you shouldn't play this game, or you shouldn't because this is bullshit. This $90, $80 game, or this game's bad. I think then you can move the needle, because then you're talking about tens of hundreds of thousands of people. But
I think that this is a matter of scale. I think that there is no person on Earth alive that could make GTA 6 a success or not a success, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. But I think that in the case of that game, yes.
A cheaper game, still within AAA, a cheaper game, though, Asmongold could make that game more or less of a success. I think that, though, once you get into AAA, even a major figure like Asmongold, while he can absolutely make a dent and really hurt the wallet of someone, I think that you have to get on such a massive scale of movement that gamers have not been historically doing, that I don't think that you can fully build the death of a game or not build the death of a game via your personal actions online. No, I think that's regardless of scale.
I think you can help it along, though. I look at like Dragon Age Veilguard, which Dragon Age is a big name. Inquisition sold really well, and that game tanked because you had like tens of 20s of almost every single influencer outside of a small amount saying this game sucks.
But I also don't think that that's solely the reason it tanked. I think that the reason it tanked was that the game did suck and that consumer trust over time has been reduced by the behaviors of the company that made it.
But that's the thing.
Yes.
Like, okay, so there are people that are trying to, if you're talking about trying to boycott a game and try to affect decisions purely to like move things around to your advantage as the consumer, then yes, it is going to fail. And yes, you're not going to get the momentum you need. Boycotts and things like that can work if there is actual substance behind it. Dexit, not getting all the Pokemon in your Pokemon game is not substantial. It really, that's not a thing.
It's
that
not.
Doesn't
it was
matter.
never going to truly
if the game
affect Pokemon.
Fucking blows, if it is broken, if it like is just a complete like it sells you one thing and it's completely a different thing, and people who like enjoy that kind of game are upset, like, you know, there are like boycotts, quote unquote, that happen around that, but it's not like this coordinated effort to try and change behavior. It's like, this sucks, we're not going to do this.
If McDonald's replaces chicken McNuggets with actual shit, I think that I will be upset, and I would call to not buy those anymore. I also think that I wouldn't have much of a hard time making that happen, because the actual shit in the McNugget would result in audiences going, yeah, I just, for some reason, I'm kind of down not to buy McNuggets.
So, like, the question around... Go ahead, Bronson.
Well, I also think that a perfect use case of this is, like, I feel like you get a certain amount of goodwill with your audience when you're established. I got to see this with World of Warcraft. And what it took to finally get World of Warcraft to fix itself was them fucking up for 5 years straight and then having a giant, massive fuck up combined with a sexual harassment thing go down.
Yeah.
Well, like it takes a lot to break one of these. So I think that, like, if this was like the fourth Borderlands game that was kind of shit, and this happened, I could see, like, yeah, okay, a boycott, like, kind of being a fucking problem, but I don't
think there's enough Borderlands going on to be. I think it'll be like not the second coming of Borderlands, but people who play Borderlands will be like, this is cool for a while, and then maybe go back to another Borderlands. I don't know.
Right. I think that boycotts don't work at all, and that I think that the thing that makes the boycotts that do work, like makes them work, are the things that caused them already being enough of a problem to make consumers not purchase the thing. Like if Borderlands 4 came out and it literally didn't launch, and then people were like, boycott Borderlands 4. You don't need to boycott Borderlands 4. The game doesn't fucking work.
Well, this goes back to...
People are going to buy it, and then it won't work, and then they'll go, what the fuck, and then not buy it.
This goes back to how you define boycott. And this is the problem, is I think everyone defines boycott as... There's not actually a problem. You are just trying to organize shit to, like, move things slightly in your favor in one way or another. And... if that's how you define it, then yes, boycotts don't fucking work. But I also think boycotts, you know, trying to put pressure on shit for like things that are actually a problem. Like if you think the thing that causes the boycott makes it so the boycott is not really a thing, then I mean, you know, I think it's a real phenomenon that's happening. But yes, there needs to be a proper cause. And I don't think.
Yeah, I think that if Borderlands 4 was actually sacrificing children in mass and they somehow made it legal.
Look, man, no one has been in Randy Pitchford house. Like, I want to get a proper investigative journalist in there.
Exactly. We should look, because it's possible.
Anyway.
So if they were doing that and the public knew about it and it was somehow legal, they were somehow allowed to do it, and we all went, that's super evil, let's not buy Borderlands 4, it's directly funding the sacrifice of children. I think if Borderlands 4 was a really good game, I'm talking insanely good, it might not work.
True.
I think the game might come out and people will just still buy it. And I think that boycotts in the gamer space are just so limp and ineffectual that I have consequently stopped thinking about my own consumer spending decisions as an effect on the behaviors of the industry.
I think about it in terms of we have a platform here, as small as it may be, and the ripple effects that go along with that. But as far as like what I think is actually happening a lot of the time is most people just care if the game is good and they don't care about anything else beyond it. And I don't mean like people like us who are super engaged and we don't want developers to crunch and kill themselves, and you know, we want the companies to behave ethically.
I
but in
prefer Randy
terms
Pitchford
of
stop sacrificing the children. Yeah,
that'd be great.
yes, like we prefer that, and we will make it known that, you know, on this show that, hey, this game is great, but man, Randy Pitchford's child graveyard is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah,
In my case, when I really have a moral problem with a game, I just don't pirate it, and then, you know, I can still play the game. I mean, I can't play the game because I didn't pirate it, and then, you know, I'm not contributing to a group of evil people.
Right. I'm in the middle of a thing where there has been a call to boycott Microsoft products as much as like you can. Obviously, a lot of people are using Windows. Like there are some things that are just not realistic because Microsoft is aiding the IDF in killing Palestinians,
right?
Which is
fucking
awesome.
But I can't suddenly stop using Excel at work.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's, and they recognize that. But there's things that are like, I'm unsubscribed from Game Pass. I'm not playing Doom the Dark Ages. I know that Doom the Dark Ages is going to be a great game. I mean, it sounds like from what people have been saying, it's a fantastic game.
That's good.
And obviously the people who make the game are not the ones involved in any of that. I don't blame them in any of that. But I am making the choice to not engage with Microsoft as much as I can. And that's not in, and here's the thing, is I'm not doing this to try and like start a movement. It's literally like this is a decision for myself, and I'm telling other people that I'm not playing it. Yes, I think this is bad. If people are asking me about it, I say, if it comes up, I say, but I'm not starting a campaign. It's just like, this is my choice for me, and I'm letting other people around me know. And that's it. And I'm not, whether it changes things or not. It would be nice if things changed, if we got like a movement going against it and it changed things. But regardless of whether that happens, I'm making that choice for myself. And that's what's all I care about.
And I think that's good. I think that's the morally good position and the sensible one.
Right. And I completely understand that. I think in my case, it's like, without seeing the needle move, I personally don't see a point to it, but that's the unfortunate, like, pragmatic part of my brain of like, I mean, this sucks, but
I guess I see a point to it of like, I don't know, sometimes you think about the children Randy Pitchford is sacrificing.
Oh, yes.
When you're going to spend the $80, you're looking at it and you're like, that's like a lot of kids. They had like friends and families. And then it makes you not want to spend the $80.
The children he's waved a wand at and made disappear. I don't want to think about it.
No, he ate them.
I think in the case,
they were awake.
Gearbox. I think in the case of Gearbox, yes. I think in the case of Microsoft, it's a lot harder, just because, like, you know, I got to work inside that machine.
Yeah.
And seeing it internally, and I'm just like, they could abandon video games forever.
They could.
Yeah. Like the evil is so decentralized. Like the one center I worked in was so detached from like 99.9% of Microsoft that like it's just really fucking hard to like cut that off. And then also there's the fact that like businesses don't give a shit that Microsoft is evil. So it's that like, they're gonna last forever just on their enterprise work. And it's like, Microsoft inherently is also working with multiple governments. They have multiple government contracts.
Yep.
And it's like, oh well, I mean, that's
Yeah, I'm sure Microsoft is working right now on the tiny missiles that fly into baby skulls.
Oh, God,
like
yeah.
they're, you know, they're not a company. They're evil. Their evil is decentralized, though. Like no one specifically there wants to work on the child baby skull missiles, but like, you know, they were just put on this team and they're doing their software dev thing.
Yeah.
And further, this issue extends. Obviously, when you really get into it, it's there is no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism, because you end up dealing with things like, okay, well, I'll move to the indie space, but also you find out that actually a lot of indie devs have had major controversies around them. You just don't hear about them as often.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just got to search around, and you got to understand that it's a process. It's not like an end goal. Like, I have reached the ethical space and I am there forever. Like it's continuous.
Like I purchased the matchless Kung Fu last week. I didn't look up the dev to see if they've done anything evil.
Oh no.
You could safely buy Stardew Valley, I guess, but you got to keep looking for every game you want if you really want to be about it.
And I mean, if you want to take this at a broader level, you could totally abandon Microsoft products.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like you absolutely could. It is possible. It's hard.
Doable.
It's hard.
It's wildly
especially when you're
inconvenient.
integrated into it. Mm-hmm.
You know, like you could move a PC over to Linux. You could only do games compatible on Proton. You could not play their games. You could use Open Office or Google Suite for your productivity. You get if you need a laptop and you don't want to put up with Linux's bullshit, you buy a MacBook. You can completely get away from them.
Yeah, there's so many companies to which the same standard ought to apply that when you actually look at it in the universal sphere of things that you must engage with to live, if you really wanted to extend the full cutoff practice to everyone, then like you kind of can't. Like the actual, you could maybe do one, you could maybe do two, but at a certain point, it's like most phones are made with
you're fucked. Right.
Conflict metals.
But it's not a 100 or 0% thing. Also,
it isn't. Yeah. No, it's a scale.
Do what you can.
Yeah,
I was saying that, Aaron, your position of thinking about that makes you want to buy the thing less or play the game less, and you're gonna make everybody else make a decision, but it just makes you feel bad, and so you don't want to do the thing.
Right.
That is, I think, a very healthy spot to be. I think it's.
I think that's pretty much probably the best place you can be. In my case, I largely don't think about it unless it comes up into my news feed, because I'm just like,
right.
I actively can't change anything.
And there's a potential situation where if enough people, organically start thinking more that way, it can affect change eventually. But yeah, it goes back to if you're trying to artificially push something, sometimes it works. Most times, especially in the gaming space, the vast majority of the times, it doesn't. There has to be a real triggering event that starts all that. And
well, it's like my girlfriend and I were boycotting Starbucks when they were supporting, Israel and whatnot. And they stopped that shit because a lot of people are boycotting them because of it. A lot.
Oh no.
Are really fucking tuned into that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You briefly paused for a second to go back.
In the middle of that.
Okay. Sorry, you gave me a heart attack. I'm like, oh fuck, what's going on? But sorry, you also made me think my position was wrong. They rolled that back. I'm like, motherfucker.
I haven't been up to date because there's multiple companies that you need to monitor the positions of, and yeah.
I honestly, as of a year or two ago, actively avoid trying to keep up to date with what companies are doing what, or I try and keep myself more inoculated from bad news if possible than I used to.
I understand that.
I understand a negative personal effect on you.
It's pretty bad out here.
Yeah, I got I gotta like do stuff. I gotta like live
I've
my
been going
life.
through that myself. Like I've gotten to a point where I have informed myself enough that like I think I can keep like up to date on some things while just let me dial some of this back on my feed, man. This is rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of why I filtered most of my news reading that isn't video game news to just Saturdays.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
anyway, I just want to wrap this up because I think we spent a half hour on this. I
We've
think
been
it's a good news
Yeah.
story. I think it's a very good conversation to have that is constantly coming up. I think the core issue around this is $80. I imagine for some people, this is something like I cannot be affording a whole bunch of $80 AAA games. This will actually affect what I'm able to purchase and will change my habits. And so I hope I can generate enough support. The problem is, I think we've seen with people buying 3 different versions of Last of Us, we've seen like ridiculous sales on a number of games. The new Assassin's Creed comes out. It's another Assassin's Creed game. It hit record sales. I just think people are just going to buy the $80 game.
Yeah.
They're just going to do it.
Yeah.
I think that it'll affect some, like you said, same. It's like the $70 move affected me. The $80 move will affect me, and I'll go, okay, cool. I guess I will not. But like, it's the reason why like Hogwarts Legacy and Jedi Survivor did not get purchased to me until like they were on significant discount, because I was like,
yeah,
I'm
Didn't
sorry,
buy
I can't
either.
afford these.
Man, we're really having one of those weeks where we don't want to talk about the news stories, even though that's what the podcast is.
This is an important thing. This is the thing. Like this is a very important topic, and I think that this is really interesting. And this triggered that. Look, man.
I agree. I just also feel like part of it is that we just want to talk to each other a little bit more than we want to talk about specifically what the news is.
And we're going to make that space for it to happen. It's going to happen. But that's kind of what this is. Like these people are reporting the news. They're doing the actual work of doing the games journalism and getting out there and getting the news. And let's be honest about what this show is it's us. We've been enjoying, video game content for a good long time now, and Bronson and I, at least, we were watching video game industry coverage in the early mid 2000s, and so we've just been watching this whole time.
Here's something crazy. I've never not kept up with game news in my whole life, from the point that I could form memories. I was 4, and I was keeping up with Sonic the Hedgehog game releases.
Mm-hmm.
Because my cousin was telling me about them, and I was so excited about more Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's literally never been a point in my life where I've not kept up with video game news to some extent.
So from when I could read and got a Nintendo Power Sub when I was around 10 years old, I have been following the game news cycle much as close as I could.
Yeah.
Like pretty much like ever since. Have I taken I take a week or two off here and there? Yeah, probably. Yeah, sometimes. But generally, I am always engaged in that news cycle. And it's partially because I just fucking love video games, and I also, as an adult, realize like I am in the 0.001% of video game enthusiast sickos.
Right.
So
I was uninformed for the longest time. I was completely ignorant of all this stuff for a very long time, and I enjoyed it. It was you could enjoy a bad game and be like, oh, this is fun. I could play FX Racer at like 10 frames a second on a Super Nintendo. I was like, this is sweet.
I still prefer that.
It's a more blissful existence, let me tell you. You can just enjoy a game that's not very good and like be wholly unaware of the conversation around it, and it's nice.
I love not very good games.
Yeah.
I and like, unfortunately, I am way past that person.
Right.
And when I see that person, I'm just like, I don't want to ruin your ignorance, but I have to.
Dude, I part of why I started reading so early was to keep up with video game news.
Yeah.
I would ask my family to go look stuff up for me.
So it wasn't video game news, but it was video games, like playing Final Fantasy and fucking Pokemon and games that required reading.
Yeah.
I had a Sonic the Hedgehog fan website in the 1st grade.
Hell yeah! All right.
Yes. We're learning some dark things here.
I got slowly
right?
informed.
Me and my cousin, we did it.
I got slowly pulled into video game coverage. I think first through tips and tricks because I wanted to learn cheats to make the games I was playing better. That was how that happened. I wish. I mean, I guess the mod scene exists, so cheats still exist. It's just not. Yeah. Anyway, we should move on to the next story. We have less than an hour to get through the rest of these news stories, so let's do it. Let's do this. All right.
Mario Kart World began development on Switch 1 and suffered performance struggles until Switch 2 delay offered a ray of hope. I was reading this earlier. They really were struggling to get a 24-player experience in an open world setting on Switch 1. That turns out Switch 1 can't handle 24 people all in an open world at the same time. It's loading too many assets.
Oh man. Yeah. Yep. Which, you know what? This makes all the sense in the world. I'm actually surprised they were trying to make this for Switch 1.
Yeah, they were thinking about downgrading the game, but around 2020 they were given information on the predicted specs for the Switch 2. And so they were able to shift their development cycle to be like, you know what, actually we're going to account for just a much stronger device. And so they did. And then, which I feel like makes me a little more excited for this game. Because thinking about the fact that they were like, oh, we've been doing this since 2020. we've been
at
making this game.
I am super stoked for this. Part of that is like the battle royale mode. Like, I cannot fucking wait when we all have our Switch 2s and we can get on a stream and do Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Battle royale. That shit is gonna be so fucking hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's gonna be a huge launch. It's gonna be a crazy, crazy big launch. Yeah, I'm hype. I'm hype to maybe get to play it if I get a Switch.
I know,
dude. I am doing everything in my power. I know
you've been working
Aaron, keep checking your email.
Yeah,
to see if you get the invite.
Yeah,
Anthony checking his email. I'm hitting up contacts I know, being like, "Yo, dog, how many Switches you get?"
You called the Best Buy for me, and we're like, "Are you gonna have extra Switches on launch day?" And they're like, "Yes."
You know, they said depending on how many people show up, but like we're showing up early enough that similar to Switch 1, I am hoping that it won't be an issue.
Well, my worry is that, you know, I get off work, I'll probably only earliest be able to be there at 6, so like 3 hours ahead. Well, I don't know how early the earliest of us is getting there.
I'm getting there at 5 or like 5:15, okay. But like I'm getting there at 5:15, and I'm literally putting a chair out. And putting a folding chair out. So I'm hoping that, I'm hoping that me with my folding chair will be able to hold a spot, and then, we can just do interviews and chat with people and film shit. Yeah. And then we'll
be able to sit there and go, Paul Rudd, he played this game. It's got to be good. The IGN article has a video of Paul Rudd playing Mario Kart World right in the middle of it. So it must be.
And then
clearly,
and I am picking up my accessories and whatnot I ordered at Best Buy that night.
Yeah,
like it's gonna be really funny for me because they're like, "Did you pre-order?" I'm like, I pre-ordered all my accessories, but everything else I got at Walmart. So yeah, like I pre-ordered all my accessories through Best Buy, and my copy of Cyberpunk, because we have to do a cartridge taste test.
Yes, we do.
We do a cartridge taste test.
Game key card games.
Yeah.
So the current plan we have is Duncan for you to get your Switch, me to get my accessories, interview people in line, talk to people online, do the cartridge taste test, and then fucking, go home and relax and edit video.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big launch. In fact, speaking of big launches,
nice.
Doom the Dark Ages. the biggest launch in its history.
Woo!
Yes, yes, it is.
But no sales figures yet. We don't know how much it sold.
Which tells you
it's the biggest
something.
launch in their history.
So
Yeah.
this is something that came out through The Gamer, which not the best platform in the world, but it is
The
what it is.
Gamer.
They've had 3 million players, and 2.2 million of that is Game Pass, apparently.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
A lot of Game Passers. I assume Xbox is happy about that because, like,
yes,
that's what they want.
I think we won't know if Xbox is happy until they know if those people stay.
Yeah.
Like I think that's one thing here that we won't know until later, because the hope is those people stay for whatever comes out in the next month. Like Tony Hawk is on Game Pass in a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Tony will be the Hawk.
He will be.
So, it really depends. And they've had a hell of a run with Game Pass this year. Like, I actually was looking at, like, I keep a running tab of what I've played for Game of the Year, and I have realized that I have played 3 games this year that are not Game Pass games, and then everything else I've played has been Game Pass games.
Yeah, it's a heck of a deal, man.
Yep. So,
I've had friends that were very excited about this and played it day one, and they like it. So, everybody seems to like the game. I know Moist Critical Charlie was not happy with the launch game because it crashed a lot. It had a lot of technical problems.
Eesh.
So I thought I was going to have those. I thought I was going to have those, but I didn't.
Oh,
I was fine.
That's
Run
nice.
the game with 60. Runs great. Plays great on console and on PC. Both of them perfectly. I've been swapping between. And what I've been in the mood for. I will say that I will say that I think the music isn't as good. I think that the focus on narrative feels fucking weird. Like, this game has like a lot more cutscenes than the other two, and it feels fucking weird.
That is weird.
I think the first time that you do the mech set piece and the dragon set piece are really cool. I think after that, it feels kind of fucking just old and weird. And I think the core shooting is still great.
Right.
I think that the like defensive chainsaw shield parry stuff is fun. The timing windows are as wide as possibly can be on the default difficulty. Like, I've been playing on normal. Overall, it's good. It doesn't wow me as much as the other two. Like I said, it kind of feels like Mass Effect 3, where it's like it's just missing some of the sauce.
Interesting.
That made those first two pop so much.
Okay. Honestly, hot take about Mass Effect. I think Mass Effect 3 plays the best.
It does.
It plays the best. It just has the worst everything else.
Yeah, it does have the worst everything else. How the hell is Javik DLC? That's insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's only the most important thing that ever happened in that franchise. Well, that's the doom. That's the doom. We got also more Nintendo. The next Nintendo Direct was going to be
fucked up. I put these in the wrong order, everyone. I've had a morning.
Title.
I know we had a hell of a morning, so just go easy on us here. But hey, Nintendo Direct.
So the next Nintendo Direct, it's going to drop around the Switch 2 launch. And they're going to probably get into more detail on the things that are actually on the Switch. It felt to me like they probably didn't have as much time and also wanted to keep things a little under wrap for some of these games on some of the details. So I think there's probably going to be a lot more like, you're probably going to see a lot more direct. Donkey Kong can do this specifically. Here's a level in Donkey Kong. Like, they're going to get more into what could be almost considered spoiler content.
I feel like we are missing a big holiday game from them. Like, I realize that Metroid and Pokemon are this holiday, but those are also on Switch 1, have been known about for a while. I feel like they have one more announcement that is Switch 2 only for this holiday. and I just can't figure out what the fuck it is.
A Zelda, maybe a Zelda.
No, too soon. Too soon. Way too soon. In only 2 years.
It's just like one of the only franchises I can think of that they don't have something coming out for it.
It's like mainline Mario doesn't have anything, but we don't know if that's the Donkey Kong theme. Right. So there's that. And then Animal Crossing hasn't had a game in 5 years.
That's true. Maybe they take a whipped and beaten Sakurai onto stage.
Yeah.
And they say, new Smash one day. They don't give a release date though.
I think they need something for this holiday season though. That's the thing. I do think that I could see them leading Sakurai in chains with a full beard onto the stage and him being like, after Kirby Air Ride, I will be working on Smash Bros. Ultimate 2.
They have two men in tack gear with M16s to the back of his skull.
He has the Hannibal Lecter mask on.
Yeah.
That poor man.
That poor guy.
But he gets to make Kirby Air Ride now.
Yeah.
He does get to make Kirby Air Ride. He says as part of the agreement for allowing me to make Kirby Air Ride, I am imprisoned and making another Smash game.
Hopefully this one finally ends my life and puts me out of this misery.
Hopefully this one finally kills me.
The length of game development, who knows?
We're putting even more characters in, more stages. We're bringing back Subspace Emissary and Adventure Mode. This one's going to take 8 years to make, and this will finally end me.
He's 54.
He's not that old.
He's 54 right now. He's not that old. You
can get a couple more out there.
3 Smash games out of him.
Yeah. Don't let Nintendo know. This news comes out also with Sony's having probably a state of play around June as well. So Key 3 in full effect.
Key 3.
Yep, and Xbox Showcase June 8th, 10 a.m. We're going to be live streaming over that. We're going to be talking over that.
They should come up with a new E3 that isn't E3 and it's more combative. Like they need to put it in a building where you can see all 3 stages at the same time and all 3 presentations have to happen at the same time. And they have like a counter that counts how many people walk over the threshold to watch one of the presentations over the other so that they can like fight. They can like fight each other.
I like this.
See, this reminds me of the old Giant Bomb versus the Electronic 3 art.
Yeah.
And it was like bears and T-Rexes and shit.
Right.
Reminds me of.
I like the idea of E3, but as a competition, and you need to come out with your really flashy stuff so that your big screen can be the most and attention grabbing. Because I think we'll get more cool out of it. I think we get more cool things out of it if it's a combat. And then you've got all the smaller booths, booths, and they also are competing on the booth ranking.
So that's kind of what it was on the show floor. So I'm gonna give a little bit of everybody inside baseball. For those who have never been to E3, Sony's and Microsoft's booths were like literally right next to each other. Mm-hmm. Like they were literally like you would be able to go down this hallway, and then you'd have a green wall with Xbox logo, blue wall with PlayStation logo. You know, like it was literally 1-to-1 comparison. You could do that. Yeah, no, it was
in Wushu stories. They take rival sects. They take a rival sect, and they go through competitions for the distribution of resources from special things like arcane realms. All right, and so this needs to be a fight that each one gets. And then they get things for it, right? It's not just like it's like development time or something. The game will be better if you have the better presentation.
So
it's more shelf space at Walmart's.
Yeah.
Yes, shelf space, the thing that matters now. You're literally just kind of describing 90. You're kind of just describing 90s E3 is what you're describing.
All right. Yeah.
I just want them to hate each other again.
You know, the video game industry's gotten too friendly. We need to we need to make things a little violent again.
Sega used to kidnap people. Like, can we get back to that?
I'm imagining a few different skits happening right now in my mind. God. All right, let's move on. Nintendo Switch 2 in the news. I don't know if you've heard.
No. What's that?
It's a video game console. It has a game chat, like as a Discord thing. It apparently requires your phone number.
Yeah.
To verify it.
Authorize that you're not.
It requires your phone number so that they can get you.
I mean, a number of places use my phone number for verification purposes, right? Is this different?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be similar. This is just to prove you're like a real person.
No, it's because the report button is going to have a button on it that says, should we get them?
Yeah.
And then they have to have your number to find your identity.
Yep.
So that if you're bad, they get you.
And then Nintendo's going to swat you.
Yeah. With the Nintendo SWAT.
Just a 3-hour stream of like Miyamoto popping up on Twitch and like swatting like assholes on Nintendo, and just Miyamoto.
Okay, so RuneScape does this thing where they have these streams called bot busting streams.
Okay.
Where two of the devs on the anti-cheat team go in with an admin account where it has like godlike powers, and then they grab bots from different worlds and they put them in a world all together, and then they just go around killing them and showing how much gold they have.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So Nintendo's going to do that, but they kill you for real and they take your actual money.
So I think what's really this is for, it's to ban people and not have them an easy recourse to make a new account if they're being cheats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can still make it like a Google Hangout number, right?
Probably.
But it's like probably can't do it infinitely.
I don't know about that. That's a good question. I know we have a whole Switch 2 show planned the week after launch where we're going to test out game chat and a bunch of other bullshit on the system.
Okay.
So, we'll find out.
All right. Yeah. That'd be a good one.
That's so we're
going to get banned day one.
I mean, you can always get a burner phone. There's you can always do that.
Yeah. Burner phone for my illegal Nintendo activities.
Yeah.
But 15 minutes, we got 15 minutes scheduled for like the system and the UI and game chat. Either 15 or 30. So,
somebody is buying a burner phone. Somebody out there is buying a burner phone so that you can use their Nintendo camera to show their Nintendo junk on Mario Party.
Yeah, Mario Party is going to be the new Uno.
Yeah. Mario Party is gonna be the new Uno. You go on there, there's full peen.
Yeah, you're just just people doing lines of Coke and showing Wang. There you go.
This is going to be a chaotic first couple months with this camera.
Yeah. Okay,
it is.
You've got me bringing up RuneScape again. That happened to me once in RuneScape. I got invited.
I don't want to hear this one.
I got invited to a clan of people because I had just reached max level, which took me 10 years. And I was like, I don't have anybody to celebrate with. So I went to the big Grand Exchange area and I went, somebody congratulate me. I just finally hit max combat. And then a group of like 10 dudes came up and they're like, yo, you want to raid with us? Raiding is very difficult in RuneScape, so I'd never done it before. So I was like, yeah, sure, man. And they invited me to a Discord. Dude is doing coke in the Discord to do RuneScape raids.
Yeah. All right.
He's doing a lot of coke. And he says, we can keep going until my hands shake too much.
Yeah. All right, this is a lot better than where I thought this was going. Let's go. That man better be raid leader.
He was.
Fuck yeah.
He was teaching me. He was teaching me like a good teacher, and he was just going, "Hold on," in the middle of teaching me.
Let's go. That's the real shit right there.
This is an amazing story. This has to be top 10 podcast stories.
I've had old school RuneScape on the mind, and this is only selling me further.
Right?
Oh,
the guy
Jesus
easily
Christ.
had 10,000 real dollars worth of gear too.
Oh my god.
Well, that I fully believe. Just like, man, the shit you would run into. There was a beautiful time period before party chat and like all this shit where like from like 2004 to like when Discord got really big during the pandemic, you would run into shit on the internet playing video games that was just the wildest shit. You'd be playing like Battlefield and hearing someone like and their baby mama arguing. You know, like you'd fucking boot up Uno or RuneScape, people doing lines of coke. You know, just fucking. Oh god!
It was the Gears of War purgatory area when you were waiting for other people to die. That's when I first learned that the cops are just another gang, man. Which, yeah, but I didn't have the context then. I was like, oh, all right, cool.
No. I'll
take your word for it.
They worked together to kill Tupac. You know,
yeah,
that's what it is.
They were on it.
Yeah. So
on that note,
all right. Phone numbers.
Speaking of criminals, Activision Blizzard. FTC finally dropped its fight against Microsoft Actiblizzard deal.
So
yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, this is not surprising. This is not like a huge news story at this point, but I want to acknowledge that a huge part of Super Gamecraft's history was covering this story and the things going on around it.
Like, man, let me tell you, this was basically an Xbox podcast from like 2020 until last year.
Right.
Like, yeah, we were multi-platform, but like just due to Microsoft and its news cycle, it was mostly Xbox, and then our interest before they gave up.
Yeah,
and it makes me laugh that somebody commented today or yesterday on one of our podcast clips. Can't wait for the Sony/PlayStation layoffs and canceled game podcast. And I'm just like,
yep.
I'm just like, brother. Don't worry, their time will come.
That's how it works. That's how this industry has worked. It's coming.
I have a sneaking suspicion that, like 4 or 5 months after Marathon comes out, we're going to have a nice, fun talk about how Bungie just had layoffs and is getting folded into PlayStation.
I think Bungie... They're the left field guys. They do what you don't expect. Okay. They're going to have layoffs and then be sold by Sony back to Microsoft.
Just a tennis game between Sony and Microsoft of where Bungie's at. Right? Oh my god. That would be funny.
Because they narrowly avoided
left from original. Is Jason Jones the only person left from original Bungie?
No idea.
Is Shikai Wang still there even?
I'm not sure. They narrowly avoided belonging to Microsoft again because they belonged to Activision for a while, like a couple years before the acquisition, and then they had a breakup, and then they got bought by Sony. Bungie has broken up with and then belonged to so many companies. It's like absurd.
Well, and it just keeps going. It's like the potential for the back and forth between these two. This is a lot of people have left, but this is still, I think, a great studio if they can get their mess together. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I can't think of many other game companies that has actually survived this many acquisitions.
I mean, I haven't.
Crazy.
I fully believe that this is because of the outside world viewing Destiny as exceptionally profitable.
Which isn't.
That
It's like teetering
that
constantly.
that is honest to God what I believe is what's going on.
Yeah.
That's it. And okay, so Shikai
Yeah.
Wang is still fucking at Bungie. Jason Jones is still at Bungie, but most of the people who made the games you love at Bungie are not there anymore.
Not there.
Right.
Not there. Destiny 2 is a game that pays for itself to exist.
Which ideally is what you want.
It does. It is ideally what you want. It's part of why I think Destiny occasionally comes out with some of the best stuff out there, because it's that those are the parts that the team are really passionate about, and so they're kind of like, yeah, dump every dollar we can into the development of this next cool thing, and so they keep very little in the way of profit, and when you get acquired, it turns out that's bad. It's also just not a great way to run your company, which is why they keep having to get acquired, because they keep almost going bankrupt when something slightly underperforms.
It's weird you're bringing this up. I was talking with Anthony about this last night, about how Bungie, other than the development of Halo 3, has essentially been in absolute abject fucking chaos for almost since 1996 or 7. You have in 1998, they have that bug in Myth 2 to where if you uninstall the game, it nuked your whole hard drive.
Oh,
incredible.
And they had to recall the game, and this nearly caused them to go bankrupt, so they got bought by Microsoft. They had to crunch super hard to get Halo out the door in time, and Halo 2, they had to do the exact same thing.
Not to mention, they broke their exclusivity deal with Apple during this process.
Yeah, Apple was really pissed off about that, which is also why Halo 1 came out on Mac as well as PC eventually.
Yeah.
Fun fact for those of you that didn't know. Okay, so they get done with that. Halo 3, smooth development, not really much crunch. Wait.
Halo 2, not smooth development.
Nightmare crunch. Nightmare crunch. They basically made that game in a year.
Ugh.
Yeah.
From what I understand. Halo 3, smooth development, everything's fine. Halo 3 ODST, nightmare development. Halo Reach, kind of 50-50, but they were fighting with Microsoft to get free the entire time and arguing with Microsoft the entire time. That's why ODST became a full game instead of an expansion pack, because they needed to fill their contract with Microsoft. They needed 2 Halo games. They wanted to be out the fucking door.
Right.
So, all right. They get out of Halo, Bungie, or Destiny. We all know the story of Destiny 1 is that entire thing was a shit show, basically, until Taken King, and even then it had problems. All right, and then you have Destiny 2, which is a perpetual tire fire, off and on.
Yeah, I mean, people hated the Red War. They were deeply undersatisfied with all of the launch content for Destiny 2. Then they did start to release a lot of content. People got more satisfied with it. But then load times were so insane, because they had somehow been loading a huge portion of the content that they had made, and they'd released so much into the game by the point that people were satisfied that your ability to load into shit was getting broken. And so they vaulted a bunch of content, and then people were really pissed about that. And then, it's a 50-50 chance whether or not any DLC that came out was either the best or terrible. And then, and then they started getting onto the seasonal system, and I think that really kind of ruined a lot of the game for me. And yeah, it's just been a constant back and forth.
Speaking of, I got a question for you, Duncan. Are you gonna go back for the new expansion?
Yeah.
I mean, someone's gotta.
If I buy this expansion, will you play it with me?
Yeah, I'll play it with you. I'm just I can't not go back. I can't.
It's still
I have
kind
to
of
do
fun
it every
to
time an
play.
expansion comes out.
And
It's still kind of fun to play. Also,
like
it's the time of the year I get to talk to my brother. Otherwise,
okay,
we talk very little. But then Destiny expansion comes out, and I'm talking to him every day for 2 months straight.
That's a fantastic reason to go back.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know, because Anthony keeps talking to me about, man, what weren't like Anthony loved those raids. He absolutely loves them, and I'm just like, okay, we got Duncan. I know David is gonna be back.
Yeah.
Panda Kitty's already back.
Yep.
Like other than Aaron here, I know Aaron, you don't want to come back. I understand.
I can be persuaded if like you are desperately in need of a sixth. I'm just I'm not entertaining. I'm not like enthralled. I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
That's all we ask for. We ask that you do your best.
I want to be a healer and shoot things, and then my stupid brain will do what simple tasks I can.
I'll probably go back to the game a couple of weeks before the DLC even comes out.
Oh yeah, I'm already looking at like they do a similar thing to like World of Warcraft's pre-patch, where the expansion is not out but out.
Yes.
Like all the systems and shit are out, and like whenever that comes out, which is I think soon, I'm tempted. I fucking hate this game.
Right.
But like
I live for the day one raid, and you got to be prepared for a day one raid. So I get on a couple weeks before the expansion comes out, and I learn what's the meta shit that I have missed. I actually go back. I buy the season pass for all the past seasons, so I spend more money on the game. And then I go and I do the seasonal content that is required to get the best gear from those seasons that I know I will probably need for the day one raid during the next raid. And then I play a bunch of the content as the new stuff comes out. I keep up with whatever the meta is at the time so that I can just like desperately search for the items that I'm gonna need for the raid. And then by the time the raid comes out, I can actually meaningfully participate. In fact, usually on my team, I'm one of like, probably like I'm not the bottom tiered person. I'm not anywhere near the top because I mean, my brother still actively plays. My buddy Lucas still actively plays. So like they're crazy geared. They have all the best stuff, but yeah.
I'm just like sitting here and like, I have like 2 builds for all 3 classes. I was like making a poison warlock when I last left. I'm like,
I can't. Every time we talk about Destiny 2, at some point we will talk shit about it, and then in the middle of the conversation, it's like, I should check out Destiny 2 again.
It's horrible. It's why.
What the hell?
And the thing is like, if you asked me, like, okay, if you had to stop playing World of Warcraft and go to a different MMO, where would you go? And like, it's probably my answer.
Yeah. Yep.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh,
what are you guys doing after this?
I gotta get you to play old school RuneScape one of these days. I enjoy
the beginning area of old school RuneScape, which is the entirety of my experience.
Tutorial Island's great.
Yeah.
Gotta love tutorial. It's actually a great tutorial.
It's nice. Yeah. But
I'm just
all right. Well,
all right. Let me just start. Let me throttle my bandwidth so it doesn't ruin the podcast. But start this download.
I'm gonna pull it up. How this is a huge game.
It is a huge game. It's very big.
It's 144 days. Yeah.
When is the DLC coming out?
July.
Oh, okay. I got time.
Oh man. Well, hey, guess what? For a future show, expect some Destiny gameplay here and there in the future.
Yeah. So next story.
Let's get to the next story. Let's get off of this.
Completely unrelated shit again.
Yep.
Next story. Peter Molyneux, liar McGee, lies again. He explains why his infamous Connect game Project Milo was never released. And instead of acknowledging the fact that that whole thing was a lie and that the technology didn't exist for the thing that he was talking about, he instead says that it was because they changed the marketing on the Connect to be more party-centric, and that the technology of the Connect was downgraded from like a $5,000 crazy build to, you know, the like $150 Connect that we actually got. Mind you, whatever that $5,000 device was would never have been enough to make the game that they're talking about. No amount of more powerful peripheral could have possibly made a full AI child that remembers you and develops a relationship with you and responds actively with both actions and words to whatever you're doing in a voice that is more advanced than AI voices we have now.
Yeah. Yep. It was totally gonna happen.
It doesn't surprise me that Peter
2009.
Molyneux is still lying. Like that's not a new thing.
No, it was because they
I know.
marketed it as for sports and party games. That was the reason why that game didn't come
That's
out.
why. That's why.
Could have been any other stuff.
Even though the whole reason I bought a Connect was for a party game, Dance Central 2. So you know,
I had to include this story because this man was much more active in the gaming scene and gaming news in the
Much
2000s,
more.
and man, did that make things
Dude.
interesting.
It was him working for Microsoft is what did it. He was way more influential when he was a high up guy at Microsoft. Like he was working for a studio that was part of Microsoft and was making Fable. Like, you know, he was a big deal at the time.
I mean, he was a fantastic. He made some great games in the 90s.
He made
Populous
Fable.
was big.
Yeah,
Populous was a good game.
Yeah,
Fable was also though a game that was completely not at all what he said it would be.
that was the fun thing is he would be advertising a game that was great, and then you would hear him advertising. It's like, you're nuts, but okay.
He did it 3 times. He did it 3 Fable games. He said different things about all of them, and none of them were what he said.
It's awesome. I love Peter Molyneux existing. I think it's great.
Yeah. No, he's actually, I love him.
Imagining, see, this makes me think. I don't know what he's been up to recently, but like, if this was of interest to him, like, what is he trying to do with AI now?
Right.
He's making a game called Albion.
That's
I have no
right.
idea what the fuck it is, but you know, he revealed it 2 years ago.
He's got to be using like AI stuff. Like, he seems like the kind of guy that, like,
point.
I need to make promises, and AI will try to keep them and like lose track of all the bullshit.
His whole strategy historically has been, I am gonna come up with the coolest shit ever. I'm just gonna come up with the coolest shit ever, and I'm just gonna say that that's what this is gonna be. And if
I'm gonna get like 70% of the way there,
yeah,
I'm gonna make something. And it could be good, but like, you know, I'm just going to say that I'm going to make a world where the grass is individually on the original Xbox. I'm going to make a world where the grass is individually simulated and the growth of trees and the age on your character's skin and like, you know, just future bullshit. I'm just going to say it's going to happen and it's going to be the best. And I'm going to vaguely describe something similar to what comes out. And they're going to give me enough money to make a game. And then I'll make a game.
Yep.
And here's the thing. In all fairness, I love Fable 1. I love Fable 2. Fable 3 is okay. Black and White is great. He hasn't really done much after that I can remember, or that is of note.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But this was a big deal during the times of E3. This thing came out. They were showing this off, and it was the very weird. Obviously, people who play video games weren't very interested in it, but the promise it was making was just so strange. It was like, okay,
we made fun of this man a lot.
Yes,
I remember we made fun of this demo a lot. We thought it was really creepy.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I want to say this was the E3 where you came in at like 3 a.m. back to Reno and you watched it at my place.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah.
That I want to say that was it.
Oof.
Either way, this thing was everything about Connect really did feel just like a fucking fever dream and a hard pivot.
Yeah.
I feel like ever since No Man's Sky, video games have gotten too truthful with what they're going to be before they come out.
Uh-huh.
Start lying again, please.
We need you to start lying. We really need you to
lie. I need you to release the BioShock Infinite trailer that had none of that happened in the game.
Randy Pitchford should come out and say, "Oh, yeah, it's totally gonna be $60." That's the kind of lie I'm looking for.
yeah, it's gonna be $20.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
It'll be three times the size the last game.
Bajillion more guns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, I have to give it to Miyazaki. He is a liar. He said that the Elden Ring DLC would be the size of a Limgrave, like lying straight through his teeth. He just said, yeah, it'll be like one Limgrave. It won't be that big. And then it was an 80-hour experience.
See, that's the best kind of lie.
Yeah, he does the smart kind of lie where
he reverse lies.
He under promises and he over delivers. He does the smart lie.
Yep.
Yeah, like he does the Sakurai lie where he's just like, oh, not a big of a deal. And it's like a really crazy big deal.
It's the good stuff.
That's
the good stuff.
I just need more lying in general. God, I need deceit and chaos.
Lying and backstabbing and fighting each other in E3 conference rooms. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they should give everybody at E3 a gun and see what happens.
Jesus Christ.
Bring it back. Everybody gets an AR-15.
I do think we would benefit more from late 90s energy. Like, I don't know how we bring that back, but I think that would be really good, just in general.
Yeah, we need a man in a Sonic the Hedgehog outfit to tear a person's body in half.
Yep.
I actually had
a stage. We need to get crazy.
I actually have a fun Sonic the Hedgehog story from the last E3 I went to.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that was the E3 with Sonic Mania, and we wanted to grab an interview.
Sure.
And this was at the time when the Sonic Twitter account was like really good and really funny and popping off.
Right.
Like they had a real good Twitter account going. And we go and we talk to them like, hey, are you guys taking interviews? And they ask us, what outlet are you from? And I'm like, oh, from this place. Here's our analytics. I show them the analytics, and it felt really fucking awkward because they cut us in front of all these people in line.
Ooh.
Like all these people just standing in line, like they're like, oh man, like we're gonna come right to the front.
Yep.
To demo Sonic Mania, and then afterwards, I go to do the interview. And one of the most unprofessional moments of my career ever, where I ask him like, hey, so and so you're blank from Sega. I forget what I forget his name. You're so and so from Sega. What do you do there? And he tells me what he does, and the just immediate shock of him being the guy who runs their social media and their Sonic Twitter account. I immediately pull the mic back and I go, wait, you're that guy?
Yeah.
Just entirely on camera.
But no, but like that's the appropriate response though, because up until like Sonic Mania, that Twitter account and the way they were leaning into the shit posting was the best thing going for Sonic the Hedgehog.
That was the era where Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps was like their brand ambassador. They've since entered a completely different era. In fact, a lot of their marketing isn't super effective in the West anymore. But I mean, their current brand ambassador is Inugami Korone, the VTuber, and she is obsessed with Sonic. And like in Japan, their marketing is popping off.
Right.
But
the best
in
marketing
the West,
here is
people
the
are
movies.
not often hearing about it.
But yeah, so like totally dropped the journalism face, the like serious face.
You're like, hold on.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a real funny moment. Just like, wait, you're that guy?
Yeah.
And then like we
funny.
laughed for a second and tuned the interview again.
It's awesome.
No. It was cool. He was a cool dude. He was really cool. We also I also like became like friends with one of their social media interns.
Sure.
That's good.
Hey, man, you know. We have one more news story that I pulled specifically for Duncan.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, let's do it.
The Battlefront 2 devs want to get together and make Battlefront 3 happen. The new Battlefront 2
note here. It's the new Battlefront 2 devs.
Yep.
So something I recently released a video on Battlefront 2, and a thing I didn't bring up very much was the new Battlefront 2. I was talking about the old 2005 one, and the new Battlefront 2 is actually incredible. That's the thing, is that it's actually a really good game.
They pulled it back from that initial disastrous launch.
It just never recovered though,
right,
from its disastrous launch. So they it seemingly was a case of the company's brand was damaged so badly by the insane microtransactions and massive cost of playing Battlefront 2 as it started, that they went, for the sake of our brand, we need to make this game really good and an incredible deal, regardless of how much money it costs. I bet this game lost them a lot of money.
I believe
they still put a ton of dev time into it after.
Oh yeah, they were trying to salvage it because, you know, Star Wars. And to be fair, they did. Like that game a year and a half, 2 years later was sick. Super good. Like, and it like to this day, it's still pretty graphically impressive. Like you load that game up on a PC on max settings, like wow,
and
holy shit.
It feels super satisfying, and the Jedi are so fun to use.
Yeah.
They're so fun to use.
All right.
It's a great game. So the reason that this has come up with this dev talking about getting the band back together, this is made by DICE, if I recall, right?
Oh yes, the Battlefield people.
Yeah. So it's become a whole meme lately on TikTok specifically.
Yep.
Where the comments on like every TikTok you'll find that's blown up to any extent is Star Wars Battlefront 3 spread the news. It's just people saying that.
Just skateboarding their way to a new game.
Yeah, that's literally it. It's just not even true. It's just like thousands upon thousands of people saying it everywhere.
See, I think that people have realized what works to get EA to make a new game. You know, like
I legitimately think this will work. I think, unironically, we're gonna get a Star Wars Battlefront 3 in like 5 years, and that the actual nucleus point that got them to do it is gonna be this TikTok phenomena.
Well, you know, yeah, like from a business perspective, people say yes, Morbius, and the studio's like, we gotta put Morbius out again. Oh fuck,
they did. They did. They put it out again. They did a second theater run thinking that it would work, and it just didn't at all.
So, like, I love this idea of, like, this could be a meme and no one actually wants to play this. But I think this game is in a decent place. The question is, will Star Wars be in a decent place for people when that game comes out? And I don't know. There are a lot of people that still like Star Wars.
Yeah. And sometimes the memes work.
Sometimes memes work.
Minecraft movie is the number one grossing film of the year.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're Morbius.
Because Chicken Jockey.
Right.
And sometimes you're Morbius, sometimes you're Minecraft movie.
There's another title. Sometimes you're Morbius, sometimes you're Chicken Jockey.
Sometimes you're Chicken Jockey.
So, yeah.
I have so many titles this week, guys. Come on, let me gold.
We're doing it. We're doing it this week. Yeah. We're doing good. Yeah.
Unironically, this has made me think about playing Battlefront 2 again. Because it's a good game, and it's had a huge bump in players because of this meme. There's actually like a huge number of people that decided to go back to it. And yeah, you look at it and it's like, wow, this is an 8-year-old game. It's actually like incredibly good looking, and it plays really well.
Yeah,
the guns feel good.
Damn, man.
I swear to God, if we get Battlefront 3 before Titanfall 3, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Oh, I think
Yeah, we will.
I think that
We will.
happens. I think that
It's
happens.
absolutely
God
gonna
fucking, I guess I'm gonna kill myself.
Man, I know.
Well,
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, apparently this game's really good. What if they just just go back to supporting this game? Like, I don't know. Why do you need to make a third?
yeah. Bad will.
Yeah, it's bad will. It's that
Call
I mean,
it something
like,
else.
I think that if you released some major content drop and then you started marketing it again, it might do something. But it's an 8-year-old game. It's not unnoticeable that it's an 8-year-old game.
Okay.
And like, you know, it's there's no hype for a content drop. There's so much content in the game.
Right.
There's like a ton of stuff in the game. There's a bajillion heroes. There's not a lot to add. I think that they're not really going to have stuff to put into a game that will be exciting for people.
Better campaign.
I was gonna say, so you could do better campaign. That would be good. What new stuff in Star Wars other than like the sequels? Like, could you put in Battlefront?
Andor, Mando. You put Mando as a hero. Mandalorian. You put
stuff.
Did this have Rogue One people in it?
I think it did.
Yeah.
Did it? I thought it didn't. Oh,
okay. I don't know.
Let me look up Star Wars Battlefront 2 heroes list.
Because some Rogue One stuff would be really good. Rogue One in a lot of ways feels like Battlefront the movie in certain spots. So, yeah,
I know we normally don't recognize the chat on the show anymore, but
we have to shout out our guy, our dude,
my boy.
Yeah,
welcome. Yeah, Kart Bale's always gonna have a special place here.
Hell yeah.
So, by the way, I love the titles I've written down for this week. Mario Party, people doing coke and showing Wang. Doing coke in the Discord to do RuneScape raids.
Sure. Yeah.
We can keep going until my hands shake.
They don't have any Rogue One, surprisingly.
Oh, see?
And sometimes you're Morbius, sometimes you're Chicken Chuck.
Sometimes you're Morbius,
it's good stuff. It's good stuff. When we let ourselves loose and just talk, we can do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a whole thing with like Rogue One and Andor that you can.
Yeah, they have Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Darth Maul, Count Dooku, General Grievous, Luke, Leia, Han, Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian, Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, Iden, Versio, Boba Fett, Bosk, Rey, Finn, Kylo Ren, Captain Phasma, BB-8, and BB-9E.
Wow. Okay.
So you could do what's his face? The dude. You could do the dude from Last Jedi, Snoke. That's it.
You
could do Snoke. You could.
I mean, they have Palpatine, so like.
Yeah, you do Snoke. You do Snoke. You could do Mando. You could do that chick from the Inquisitor from Obi-Wan. You do Cal Kestis from the Jedi Survivor Games.
What's her name? Anakin's apprentice. Why can't I say?
Oh, Ahsoka. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. You could do Ahsoka.
Could they start including like old video game characters for fun? Can they put in like Star Killer?
That'd be funny, yeah.
Just like here's some other stuff.
I think that Disney wants a wall between their canon and old canon.
But like, there's the funny post of why isn't Star Killer canon, and then it's the clip of him melting fucking Obi-Wan in and murdering Luke and Darth Vader. He's obviously insane. He can't be canon.
No. I understand you want to have a wall, but also like here's a game where you can just be crazy. Like I don't know, like get Kyle Katarn in here. Like that's gaming history, if nothing else.
I think what you could do is you do every game they took over 2013 onwards, which is Cal Kestis and anyone in the Jedi Survivor games.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
the Jedi
so-
Survivor games. Yeah, I just, you know.
Why aren't they giving us Kiadi Mundi and Ayla Sakura?
Okay, this is from before them. I think they should just lift it and then just say it's ours now because that's how badly I want this. They should just make one campaign or just make it its whole game. Fuck it. I want Republic Commando. Come on, man.
Yeah.
A remade Republic Commando in this age of 4-player co-op like supremacy.
Hey, you know what? Give me KOTOR 3.
Also that.
What's going on?
What are we doing?
Dude, they can't even get a KOTOR. They can't even get a KOTOR remake out the door.
I know, it's right. Yeah.
They can't even get a KOTOR 2 on the Switch that works.
Yeah. So I think you're kind of asking for the world. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm looking forward to whatever's going on there. I don't know. I don't know actually. I don't know how I feel about Star Wars. More Star Wars is coming up in front of me, trying to influence me, and I'm mad about it. But
care.
Like, yeah.
Do not give a shit.
Saber game I cut guy with saber.
All right, let me tell you. There's this series you could play called No More Heroes.
Yeah.
True. True.
All right.
There you go.
Well, see, what we need is more. We need a new No More Heroes, but there's more. Like, there's this whole class of assassins that descends from Travis Touchdown, and everyone has lightsabers. And we start making this new Star Wars.
See, the problem with this is like descended from Travis Touchdown. Like that kind of sounds like you're assuming Travis at one point had to have sex.
I'm not talking about biological. That man is a forever virgin.
Oh, okay.
No, like they take inspiration, and then he's the final. He's the final boss. Like everyone's like, oh my god, this amazing, wonderful assassin, and they learn so much from him. And then they get to him, and he's like, oh, you are pathetic. All right.
He doesn't need to have sex to have kids. He does. They're gonna give him kids, and they're gonna have extracted it via science.
Totally. They could do that.
By the way, got another title for the list. That man is a forever virgin.
Sure.
The man's a forever virgin.
The virgin assassin.
Yeah, he's like Leon or Dante. Like Leon's sex Kennedy. He doesn't know what sex is.
No.
You know, they don't. You know, Dante doesn't know what sex is.
No, he doesn't know. He doesn't care.
Yep.
It's that song of Chris Redfield asking Leon to have sex with Claire, set to the One Piece theme.
That's a show, everyone. Thank you all for stopping by.
That's a show. You should follow us on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube.
Yes,
please.
Likes and subscribes for our YouTube stuff.
I'll accidentally cut myself in half with a Travis Touchdown lightsaber, not a Star Wars lightsaber.
Oh no, that's terrible.
The different. You have the metal pole. It's a different lightsaber. Also, you should all follow Kart World. He's cool.
Yes.
He's great.
Yes.
We love him.
Kart World's fantastic.
Our European homie.
Yeah.
You should all love him.
Hey, we're on Discord. Join us on Discord. We're on social media. You can reach out to us there. But YouTube is where we're at. YouTube and Twitch is where we're doing our things. So thank you all so much for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
Okay. We'll be in. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.